Hello! Let's learn how to pick up stitches from an I-cord edge. You're going to find this technique in a lot of my modular shawls, like the Rockefeller. Each section is knit one at a time, and it's framed with I-cord edges, and then you pick up stitches. The same thing happens in the Doodler. You pick up stitches, and you get this crisp, clean, framed I-cord detailing throughout your project. So let's learn how to pick up those stitches. Let's pick up stitches from an I-cord edge. This technique occurs when you have I-cord bind-offs or I-cord edges, and the pattern instructs you to pick up stitches, and you're going to knit in a different direction. So I have this swatch here in beautiful honeycombs with an I-cord edge. Whenever you pick up stitches into the I-cord edge, I like to pick up into the stitch that's on the wrong side, that rolls to the back of the work. So if we're looking at the I-cord edge, we have 1, 2, 3 stitches. I'm going to go into both legs of that third stitch that rolls toward the wrong side. Go ahead and knit through that picked up stitch, both legs of that I-cord stitch, and then you can continue to get 1 stitch for each I-cord row. If you just go through one leg of the stitch, that's also okay, but it's more secure and it's going to look a little bit nicer on the wrong side when you go through both legs of each I-cord row. All right, let's do some more of these green ones. This is a little bit easier to see. In some of my patterns, as you pick up stitches from your I-cord edge, it might instruct you to pick up and knit 3, make 1. Pick up and knit 3, make 1. What does that mean? Well, you can pick up and knit 3 stitches if the pattern instructs you to do that. And when it says make 1, you can make 1 stitch using the backwards loop cast on. Let's pick up a few more stitches. 1, 2, 3, and make 1 using a backwards loop cast on. If you hold the yarn in your right hand, you can make a backwards loop cast on like this. Or you can just twist the yarn like that and pop it onto the needle. A backwards loop cast on. That's a good way to make 1. Increase 1 stitch along your I-cord pickup. You will only do the make 1 if the pattern instructs you to do so. I don't always do it on regular I-cord edges, but whenever I have an increase or a decrease, like this swatch here, this was a decrease. Whenever there's an increase or decrease edge, it happens here as well. That's where I do the pick up and knit 3, make 1, knit 3, make 1, knit 3, make 1 to give you a nice even stitch count that flows smoothly against that I-cord edge. Whenever you pick up stitches along the I-cord edge, sometimes you might get a little space like this, which is totally normal. It just depends on your tension, and the increases and decreases and types of yarn as well will influence that space in the pickup. I don't get that space here. These were I-cord bind-offs. I bound off right here. So when you pick up from that I-cord bind-off, there's not as much of a space. That looks really nice too. So you'll notice this technique used in different ways in my Westknits patterns, along the I-cord edge or along the I-cord bind-off. It's the same technique, picking up and knitting 1 stitch for each I-cord row. You'll notice here that the I-cord lays a little bit more flat because this was a bound-off edge. Here's the wrong side. And I just love that single knit stitch column that appears on the wrong side of the work. It looks really pronounced and beautiful on both the right side and the wrong side. Okay, what if the pattern tells you to pick up and knit 3 stitches from the I-cord corner? This is a corner right here. And if you need to pick up and knit 3 stitches, you have 1, 2, 3. So this happens when you're picking up from a corner and starting your I-cord, just get 3 stitches from the corner and knit those 3 stitches. Again, this is very specific, pattern by pattern. So that's how you pick up 3 stitches from a corner when you're starting a new section. And then if the pattern continues to say, pick up and knit 37,000 stitches along the I-cord edge, you just do whatever number. Pick up and knit 30 stitches along this I-cord edge. Then we can start going like normal. So the exact patterns vary depending on the design, but it's the same general principle. Here's that pickup if you hold the yarn in your right hand. Picking up the same way, wrapping the yarn around and pulling it through, diving in, wrap the yarn around. Be careful as you're pulling the yarn through. Uh-oh, the yarn didn't come through. You want to have some tension. You want to have a little bit of tension to the yarn so that it's like a slingshot. So it has some tension to pull through. If you don't give that yarn any tension, it's going to slip off. So give it some tension so that you can drag it through that stitch. And that's all there is to it. This is the triangle parade. If you want to practice that I-cord pickup, you'll get the most practice by following this pattern, the triangle parade, because it picks up in several different locations. You knit this shawl from small into big sections, so you really get a lot of practice, and it's fun to work with color because you only work one section at a time. And each section is perfectly framed with I-cord edges. So as you pick up and knit from the I-cord, you're going in a different direction, and it makes those I-cords pop out and really give a beautiful graphic trim to each section. This sample was knit with several different colors of fingering weight yarn, so it's a really great stash buster to mix all kinds of colors together, or you can choose just 5 colors. I wrote the pattern for 5 colors, but I can't help myself. I had to use more colors for this sample. So much fun. This is the Doodler shawl, which also has some I-cord edges framing this first section. It's a really wavy shape, knit with 3 skeins of fingering weight yarn. And that first section has the I-cord edges. The second section is a big fat cable technique, really fun and unexpected shaping techniques throughout the Doodler. And then here is the pickup. For the section 3 border, you pick up stitches at the corner and then continue along the I-cord edge to make it wavy. The magical part about the Doodler is before you do this pickup for the border, the edge is quite jagged and angular. But when you pick up stitches and do the border, it smooths out and becomes this gorgeous wavy motif. Definitely one of my favorite shawls because of its unusual construction. Such a fun shape to play with those speckled and hand-dyed yarns. Now, Rockefeller is another classic I-cord example showing different modular sections all framed with I-cord, so it makes it very easy to pick up stitches. This is section 1 with short rows, and as you pick up for section 2, right here, you do that I-cord pickup technique. And it's really exciting with contrast colors, a dark main color and a light gray contrast color. That I-cord becomes much more pronounced due to the high contrast color choice. If you want to make the Rockefeller shawl, you're going to need just 2 skeins of Westwool Bicycle or any other fingering weight yarn. 2 skeins of each color. 2 skeins of the main color, 2 skeins of the contrast color. Well, now that you've mastered those I-cord pickups, you can pick up off of any I-cord edge and make your shawl bigger. You could add a border to any pattern or take this technique into your own designs. It's really addicting to pick up stitches because you can go in any direction and make whatever shape you want. So I can't wait to share some more techniques with you. There's a lot of other I-cord tips and tricks. So check out my other I-cord videos here on my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.